Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Contemplate for a moment the number 3. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras postulated that the meaning behind 3 was deeply significant.
Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity.
To some, it is considered the perfect number, the number of harmony, wisdom, and understanding.
Okay, we've got it.
The number of time, past, present, and future, birth, life, death, beginning, middle, and end.
3 as a magic number.
However, this 3 is perhaps the antithesis of that. Number 1.
Wrong!
Let's begin with future former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who is currently under federal investigation for sex trafficking and is under investigation from the House Ethics Committee for allegedly engaging in sexual misconduct and/or illicit drug use. Yes, this is the same Matt Gaetz that sought a blanket pardon from failed former President Donald Trump. Gaetz was recently at a Women for America First event. You know, the same people that brought you the Save America rally in D.C. on January 6th. Despite all this pressure, Gaetz feels encouraged.
This past week has been full of encouragement. From President Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Jim Jordan, to the MAGA nation that shares so much love.
Wow, so much love. And Gaetz was certainly feeling the love when he signed on to the latest endeavor of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Number 2. Following in the footsteps of those that failed in the past, a few conservative members of Congress have decided to create a new caucus. The America First Caucus was created by a few extreme right-wing representatives, including Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia and Paul Gosar of Arizona.
With those two, they're off to a great start already.
Green spokesman Nick Dyer announced on Friday that the new platform will be made public very soon. Sooner than they thought, however, when it was leaked and released by Punchbowl News. After bipartisan backlash, Greene dropped the whole thing. This platform is a little more than a revamping of the white nationalist rhetoric of the 1910s and 20s. Remember what was going on in that decade?
Hey, I ain't that old.
The United States was reeling from a deadly pandemic, economic turmoil, race riots, and a surge in immigration all at once. Sound familiar? These white nationalist platitudes found a receptive audience in the American people. America is a nation with a border and a culture strengthened by a common respect for uniquely Anglo-Saxon traditions, asserts the section on immigration. History has shown that societal trust and political unity are threatened when foreign citizens are imported en masse into the country.
That old chestnut again?
They clearly need a history lesson.
The policy platform states that a certain intellectual boldness is needed amongst the members of the AFC to follow in President Trump's footsteps and potentially step on some toes and sacrifice sacred cows for the good of the American nation.
Not unlike January 6th.
Indeed.
It goes further, delving into the pandemic, stating it is essential to discontinue the lockdowns, remove capacity restrictions, and allow businesses to continue operations. The America First Caucus will work to make sure we do not overreact to a pandemic in this same way again.
Overreact? Don't you have to react before you can overreact?
Didn't they listen to anything the CDC or Dr. Fauci has said?
Funny you should ask that. Number 3. During a recent House subcommittee hearing about the government's response to the pandemic, Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan got into a heated exchange with Dr. Fauci.
What measure? I mean, are we just going to continue this forever, or when do we get to the point? What measure? What standard? What objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's
I look
obvious.
At this as a public health thing.
But
I disagree with you on that.
You think the Constitution is suspended during a virus, during a pandemic? It's certainly not.
This will end, for sure, when we get the level of infection very low. It is now at such a high level, there's a threat again of major surges.
Dr. Fauci, over the last year, Americans' First Amendment rights have been completely attacked. Your right to go to church, your right to assemble, your right to petition your government, freedom of the press, freedom of speech have all been assaulted. I mean, for a year now, Americans haven't been able to go to church. Even today, when they go to church, they're limited in the size of worshipers who can meet. Your right to assemble? Oh, my goodness. We had a curfew last fall in Ohio. You had to be in your home at 10. In Pennsylvania, you had to be in your home. When you're in your home, you had to wear a mask. In Vermont, when you were in your home, you didn't have to wear a mask, Dr. Fauci, because you weren't allowed to have people over to your house.
It wasn't until California Democratic Representative Maxine Waters had enough of Jordan that she eloquently put an end to it.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want you to answer my question. The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Excellent. Well done.
Dare I say the trifecta.
But wait, there's more.
Not another Ginsu knife offer.
In an interview on NBC's Meet the Press, Chuck Todd asked former House Speaker John Boehner his impression of the current state of the GOP.
This even showed up. I wouldn't call it mainstreamed in our party, but I can tell you that this so-called America First caucus is one of the nuttiest things I've ever seen.
Again, Marjorie Taylor Greene issued the following statement through her spokesperson. The Congresswoman is not launching anything. She didn't approve the language and has no plans to launch anything.
I'd buy that for $1.
That's all for this edition of But Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. And I've seen all good people turn their heads each day so satisfied, I'm on my way.
Thank you.